about trends in this video. In general, the whole market in the whole is trending up with time. So as you can see, it's moving from the bottom left of your screen all the way to the top right, which for you is going to be the opposite. It's going to be from this way. But yeah, it's basically like that. And it's important to recognize when it is in an uptrend and when it's in a downtrend though. Even though it generally moves up with time, there's phases in when it will be moving down for a lengthy period of time, and there's a time when it will be going up for a lengthy period of time. You know, you can see this with everything. You know, one thing we're going to look at right now is a QQQ. This is basically the technology ETF, the biggest one out there, the NASDAQ. So basically since COVID, it's been going up over time, as you can see. But if we look a little bit closer on the daily time frame, we could point some things out that are very important. So since COVID, all the way up until about November, we were in an uptrend. So I'll pull out my little drawing tool. You can see it has a low right here, a low kind of this area, a low in this kind of area, right there, right there, right there, and finally up the top. So each time it set a higher low each time. And also on the top, it's peaks. One right there, one right there, one right there, one right there, and then the final one in November. So each time it sets higher lows as well as higher highs, which basically means that it's an uptrend. Now, but if we look at something recently, basically we could have looked at the QQQ, but something we'll look at as well as Bitcoin. As you can see, I drew out here already. Recently, we've been having lower lows and lower highs as well, which is basically a downtrend. And you'd never really want to fight the trend. The trend is your friend. So if you see it going down, expect it to continue to go down until you see it set a higher high or a higher low, which actually is something we've been getting lately. If you look closely right here, you'll see this is the high it set right here, then another low. And this high that we set right here was a higher high than the previous one, and the one on the bottom, the low, was actually a higher low than the previous one. And recently we weren't able to breach the new high that we set. So I'm not going to say we can assume it's continue the downtrend, because honestly it's pretty arguable that you could say that maybe this is the break of the downtrend. Because also if you draw a line from the peak, oops, I want to redraw this real quick. Give me a second. So if we draw a line from the peak, let me go and actually remove the drawing really, because it was a little cluttered. We'll talk a little bit more about what this represents or what this means later. But if you check right here, you know, it stayed under this line, and each time it hit it, it bounced off and kept bounced off to the downside. Right here, it technically broke it, but we've been chopping sideways since then. We haven't necessarily continued a new uptrend. We've been just going sideways. And taking in factor with like all the other stuff that's going on in the world right now, such as the war with Russia and Ukraine, as well as interest rates rising, as well as the whole economic and market cycle theory type deal going on right now, we can expect something like this to continue a downtrend. But just purely talking technical analysis, you can argue that technically we broke the downtrend. But time will tell whether we actually did or did not. Next thing we're going to be looking at is further part of candlesticks and how we can apply candlesticks and trends together in order to come up with an idea of a trade, basically.